Do you ever pick up stitches for the armhole without counting and just start knitting? Sometimes I do, sometimes it works, and sometimes it really, 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 really doesn't. Welcome to the Cables, Lace and Tails podcast. My name is Sue and I am a maker from northwestern Wisconsin. So as you can see, this is my Sailor Swift top by Kutovakika. I have it right here. You can see that she did an I-cord bind off for the neckline and armhole and waist. I decided not to do that. I decided to do a 2x2 rib. I also decided to do two different sizes for my garment. I did the smaller size for up top, and then I increased it at the armhole. I'll show you this one. And I did this next size up, which then created this really large armhole. And it comes really far down. So my original thought was, well, I will just pick up fewer stitches and then go from there. And then my next thought was, well, since I did a US 2.5 for the body of the sweater or tank top, and I'm using DK yarn, I will have everything up in the side over here or over here. And then I did a US 2 for the 2x2 ribbing at the hem. So I thought, well, the US 2 is kind of loose, but this yarn doesn't have a lot of give to it. It has some, but it's a cotton linen blend by Patons, which has been discontinued. In the colors Sweet Potato and Goldenrod. So my thought was, you know what? I did a US 2 for the ribbing at the hem. I'm going to go down 2 more needle sizes. So that would be technically down 3 needle sizes for the armhole shaping. Now I did put this on, but I cannot put it on again without me feeling like I've been, stuffed into something horrible. It goes right up my armpit. It is way too small. It has weird bunching right here. And if you notice, it also brings the tank top up. If things are itching, if things are moving, my dog is itching herself and she is creating a lot of movement. So this tank top I want it to be more like this side, loose and flowy, not bunched up and angry. So I originally picked up stitches with a US 1 circular needle. I only have the interchangeables lace set, and I don't have that small a circumference. And so if you notice when I was picking it up, can you see? I'm hoping that you can see. She's a shaking. You can see my actual finger through here. I'm going to try to teach myself how to put in B-roll. So, hello, baby. Anyway. So the stitches were too spread apart and the needle was too large, and it just felt like everything was really gapey. And so then I went down to my, what do you call them? I already put them away. My double pointed needles, my Zings, Knitter's Pride Zings, the old brand, not the new brand. And I used a US 1, and that worked out fine. I just worked in the round. I had, now she's gonna knock over a lamp. Oh my gosh. Okay. It's chaos right now. So where was I? Originally I picked up 98 stitches around here, which I thought, not too bad, not too small. It should be fine. And it was on the circular, and it was just spread really far. And as I think I did one round with the circular, really watching my lamp, and it just seemed like it would be really gapey, not nice at all. So I went to the double pointed needles. I also decreased to 96 stitches because otherwise I would have like 4 of the knits or purls in one area, and I wanted it to be a 2x2 rib. So going down to 96, And then I had 24 stitches on each double pointed needle, and it worked out fine. And I thought, you know, it looks a little small, but you know, maybe that's what it's supposed to be. And I ignored this like bunchy stuff right here, and I thought, when I block it, everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. And then I put it on, and it is not fine. It is not fine whatsoever. So as we sit here and discuss more about this yarn, I'm going to put it like here, is Patons Linen. I got it when Joann's was still going, and now Patons has also discontinued this yarn line. I don't know why. It's a lovely yarn. It is 65% cotton and 35% linen. When I work this back and forth in rows, it never hurt my hand. It did start hurting my hand when I was using the US 2.5 needles and knitting in the round. I could only do 3 rounds, but even at that moment, by the by, there is some row construction around my area. So if you hear booming, that's what it is. But 3 rounds was over 600 stitches. So it's not like I was just like doing, you know, 50 stitches and getting tired. But once I started working in the round, doing the ribbing, it became nice and easy. So I'm going to take out my pin here and finish taking this all off. I did have a pin to show like the beginning of the round, so I knew exactly where I was. So this next time I am going to use, I believe, no smaller than a US 2, and I'm tempted, since I really don't need it to cinch in that much, if I pick up enough but not so many stitches, it should, you know, make it smaller so it doesn't gape right down here. I have a big knot in my thing, but I don't want it to gape and show like my bra. That's not my style. I'm not that young where I think, you know, showing my undergarments is cool. And if I don't want to see it, no one's going to see it. All right, so it's back off. I will start again. Even doing that, here, see if I can show. Even, you can kind of see it got a little smaller. My original thought was, I'll just pick up every few stitches like they say to do in things, which I kind of did. I picked up every few stitches, but I think I'm going to have to pick up more here and, you know, still pick up less here just to cinch it in just a little bit. It may take more time than I think it's going to take, or it may, you know, maybe the next time is the charm. Maybe I get the right needles. Maybe everything works out just fine. Maybe I'll be able to work it in the round, because I think working it in the round would be easier to do if I could get enough stitches on my needles for the circumference for it to look good. If not, I will switch to the DP ends and go from there. I do want to get this done. I will be working on this some more. I had to put it on a timeout. After I tried it on Sunday night, I was like, darn it. So yesterday I did not work on it at all. I worked on something else, which is the last thing I will be discussing today. So as you can see here, I'm going to bring it closer. It's still on pins. I have not taken it off. This is the back panel of my palette cardigan. I am starting to block the pieces because I only have 9 of these blocking mats, and I will be blocking a piece at a time. And I blocked this also on Sunday. It is dry. I am using the color Camel Twist. It is Palette's fingering weight. It's a 2-ply. 100% Peruvian wool. I am not sponsored. I am not affiliated. Now, I did a set-in sleeve, which you can hardly see here. Wait. Yes. Okay. Like, I know I did a set-in sleeve. Here are the decreases. You can see the green line on both of these pieces. This is where I start the armhole. Can you see? Right there. So I will line up the green threads, and then I will put it in to the arm side. I have not blocked this at all. I really wanted it to be at wrist length because I know this will grow a little bit. This is a beautiful, it stretches this way, it stretches this way. This sweater takes a long time to knit because it is fingering weight, but once it's done, it's that perfect in between all seasons, you know, like winter into spring. It's kind of warm, but you're kind of cold, and this provides just the right amount of warmth. I have another palette cardigan, and the arms are really wide, which I really like as a design, but it's not work friendly. It just gets in the way. I have to roll up my sleeves a lot, or I just have to take it off. But I wore that cardigan in the fall when it was warm, in the fall when it's cold, in the winter, and then as spring got warmer, I also wore it. So I did a 2x2 rib at the cuff. I have not started the second sleeve yet. I wanted to, but I just kind of ran out of time this past weekend. I worked on this a lot. I think I finished this Saturday night after my food truck shift. And I had gotten about like this far into the decreases. And then when you just kind of you start doing the decreases, and it just goes faster and faster and faster and faster. So this pattern is by Ann Budd in my Knitter's Handy Book of Sweater Patterns, one of my favorites. I am doing a couple different sizes. I'm doing the stitch count, and I'm doing the stitch count for the size 42 bust, and I'm doing the length and the arms at a size 40 because my arms aren't as long as a size 42-inch bust. This is a spreadsheet book. I have shown this multiple times. She does give some patterns in the book for things, and you kind of can mix and match, which will come into play with my next thing that I'm going to show. Now, I will be working on the sleeve, which will seem like an eternity because it just takes time, but it's a really good pattern to just kind of like, all right, I'm going to watch. I like history documentaries. And because we have antenna TV, I turn on YouTube and I can watch PBS shows on there, and working on something simple, stockinette back and forth where you don't have to always look, you do have to pay attention at times because the 2-ply yarn will split, and you will, if you're not paying attention, you can just pick up one of the strands, and it can untwist easily. It's easily fixed. I dropped my yarn and I almost caught a cat with it. Hello, Tallulah. So this color has, I believe, been discontinued, but there are a lot of palette colors. They usually put this on their $2 for $6 sale, and I may have bought some $2 skeins of yarn. Normally, it's over $5, under $6. So I am planning on discussing acquisitions at the end of my podcast today, just FYI. Now, the thing I'm going to talk about next is my Hazel Cardi. I am using 2 strands of Upcycle Alpaca blend yarn. I have to be careful because there's such a high twist in this yarn, and it is fuzzy enough where it will knot up extremely easy. And then you spend what seems like an eternity getting the knots out of the yarn. Ask me how I know. Now, for this, I am using, and I just realized I didn't mention what needle sizes I'm using for my palette, cardigan, or what kind. I'll put that in the description when I show it on the screen. Okay, back to back. Now, I have been working on the Hazel Cardi as I've been thinking about how I want to do my stripe pipe, and I just needed to go back and forth, and you can see I made quite a bit of progress. Here's my progress keeper. It's the purple pin, and I did about, you know, a good 2+ inches. Now, this is sport weight yarn in the color hazelnut. That's why I'm calling it the Hazel Cardi. I'm using Ann Bud's book. I did a gauge swatch. It's working out to be a good worsted, you know, weight, and it feels substantial. It doesn't feel light and airy. It does feel substantial. So I have been playing around with how long I want it to be. And I re-looked at my stuff. I'm basically keeping everything the same except for the body measurement. I'll show you on this one. I just hurt myself with the pin. All right, be careful. So this part here is really easy to change. You can see my ribbing is down here, and then the green line. You can make this longer. You can make this shorter. It really doesn't matter for the pattern as long as you do it consistently throughout each panel. This part here, it does matter because you are making a certain size, like I'm using a size 40, so you want it to fit this size. Even though this is a size 42 stitch count, you have to like finagle it just a little bit. It usually works just fine. There's not that much difference between a 42 and a 40. However, when I started doing this, I was going to put this down to a size 36. And the more I've been working on my other projects, if you make the arm's eye too small, you're going to have weird bunching in this area, or it's going to be ripply here and here. So I thought, okay, wait. If I want this to be a shorter cardigan and sit at more of my natural waist versus, you know, hips or longer, I will keep this area the same, but I will just shorten this area a little bit. Pretty nifty. So I decided that I'm going to go, I think this is about 9 inches right now. So I'm going to go up to 11 and kind of see how this looks. The most I want to go is up to 13 inches. And then if I do 11 inches here, I'm just going to do here. I do 11 inches here, and then I do the recommended arm's eye, which I believe is 9 3/4, and then you have another inch up here for shoulder shaping. So if I did that, I would be at 21 3/4 inches from here to here. If I went any longer for the bottom area, I would be, the most I want to go up to is 23 inches. So I'm really going to keep my notes. I'm going to make sure I have everything written down. I've already started to change everything. Not a lot, but just some. So I did do a very large rib. I believe I did about a good 2 inches. I wrote it all down. Did I? Oh, gosh, I hope so. Oh, no, I did not. Well, I'm going to have to write that down so I can do it for the other 2 panels. Anyway, I am using a US 7. This is my Knit Picks Sunstruck laminated birch needles. Works really good. The only problem I have is when I'm not paying attention, I sometimes only grab one of the yarns. And so that is working with 2 yarns. Sometimes you just don't grab both yarns. It has been easy to fix. I usually use a crochet hook. And yeah, I'm going to move my progress keeper now. And I used a US 6 for the ribbing. For the 2x2 ribbing, I used a US 6 or 4mm. So now using a 7 is just so, it feels just smooth and nice. And US 7 is a 4.5mm. So that is the Hazel Cardi. It is coming along, and I should write myself a note. I'm going to say ribbing, blank inches, blank rows. Now I will remember to do that later on. Okay, so let's put this baby away. It's nice to have a stockinette project. I have been really wanting to do a lot more, and yesterday I got so close to finishing something. We are getting warmer and it's supposed to get hot next week, so I really want to get this next one done so badly so I can work on some other things, just as I want to get this one done. I just want it to be off of my to-do list, and it will, and I will be happy when it is. That is that. So I stayed up extremely late last night. I was almost late to work this morning. I wasn't the only one though. All my coworkers are feeling the same, and we think it's because of the amount of sun that we get at this time of year is just so wonderful that you're not tired, and you're, you know, at 9 o'clock at night, you're still like, yeah, let's keep going. And then you're like, oh my gosh, it's already 10, and then you're going to bed way too late, and then you wake up too early, and it is hard. So this is my stripe hype sweater, which I'm so close to being done. I'm going to just put a picture over there. I am doing a 2 colorway. I am doing, let's see, the maroon is called Barn Door Heather, and the gray is called Dove Heather. And last week I showed you that I finished the one sleeve, and I did the hem, and I did a split hem. I did different decreases for the arm. I kept track. It's working out great. I took really good notes. Yesterday I was able to do about 6 stripes. Let's see. I was somewhere way down here, and I figured with the amount of rows I have here and the amount of rows I did here, I did 6 stripes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I only have to do this main color stripe here and then the cuff. And I was so close. And it was like 9:45, and I'm like, no! And I had to take my dog out and start getting ready for bed and all of that stuff. And I just was so close to getting this done. And I just tried so hard to finish it because I just want to show you the end result. I'm so excited to have this finished. Right now I'm using my, what do you call them? Sunstruck needles from Knit Picks, the shorties. I think these are 3 inches. Just over 2. I measure this area periodically in life, and from here to here, I learned this as a kid when I was bored in school. That is 1 inch. Now you know why I am like bink, bink, bink. So I am using, this is a US 6 needle. For the ribbing, I go down to a US 4, and I do have some really short circulars for that. I use, it was still Knitter's Pride at the time, but it was their blue collection. I don't remember what it's called. But they had some shorties, like 2-inch shorties, and I don't like using them a lot, but on these small circumferences, it works really wonderful. I'll show you this cuff. It cinched it in just right, because I did my stitch count a little different. I did 8 more stitches than what is recommended for my size, and this row, and this row, and this row are all the same stitch count. Yeah, yep, that's right. But look how much smaller this one looks, which is what I should keep in mind when I'm doing my stripe height. Oh gosh, my sailor. No. Somebody named Tallulah is trying to eat my sweater. Foam and wool, so you know, delicious, right? Okay, so where was I? Stitch count. So I use a US 4 down here, which is a 3.5 millimeter, and then this is a 6, which is a 4 millimeter. Created beautiful fabric. Beautiful, beautiful. Once I'm done with the sleeve, I'm going to pick up for the neckline. I'm already succumbing to the fact that I will probably have to pick it up 3 times. And that'll be okay. If I get it done in 2, fine. But I'm not gonna, like, I don't want to, this is like the piece de resistance. This is what everyone looks at. They all look at your neck first, like, hi everyone, how's it going? And they all look here first. They're not looking, you know, to see if you did all the stripes correctly. Maybe they were, I don't know. But anyway, this is, let's see, what size did I do? I don't remember. I think I did the 4 size. I'm pretty sure I did the 4 size. And if not, I did the size up or the size down. Anyway, so close. I will have enough yarn on these 2 skeins to finish the sleeve, and I have more than enough yarn to finish the neckline with this. In fact, I think I'll have like at least 2 full skeins left. I have 3 right now. So what I did was, Knit Picks has their $2 for $6 sale a couple times a year. Once in the summer, which just happened in June, and once in the fall, usually around November time period. I'm just telling you, I know I'm not affiliated. That's gonna fall. I'm not affiliated, and I'm not trying to promote them by any means, except when there's a good deal, I like to help people. Because we all love yarn. Might as well get, you know, decent, good yarn for a good price. This Barn Door Heather is the Wool of the Andes worsted tweed. I'm going to fix this right now. And it's a light worsted. I'm going to just say that right now. It is worsted. Sometimes it's thick, sometimes it's thin. People get mad about that, but it doesn't really bother me that much. It is Peruvian Highland wool. The tweed is more expensive than the regular Wool of the Andes. They also come in sport weight. Now, I got this skein and the other 9 skeins in the pack for $2 a piece. They do not carry this colorway, but they have similar colorways. That's what they do with these $2 for $6 sales. They're blowing out different colorways, and I always look at the $2 size. I think I went up to a total of $4 once, but I wanted the mohair and it was down to $4 and it was like 80% off. all of my alpaca blends were originally $10 a skein, and I got them for $2 a skein because of those sales. Those sales have saved me a lot of money, which is going to bring me right into my next part. I normally don't show that many acquisitions on my channel because I figure we all have yarn. Sometimes it is nice to see people's yarn, and sometimes they're getting promotions from that company or whatever. And even though I'm not promoting this company, I got some beautiful yarn. Now, first one I'm going to show you, this color is called Regal. I got a sweater's, excuse me, a sweater's quantity of, the palette is 2-ply fingering weight of this beautiful, deep, I don't know if I can't tell if the camera's picking this up and how beautiful it is. It is this really deep, purplish, the name fits it perfectly, Regal. It's very purpley violet. There is a little bit of hue difference between the thing. I do wonder if the color will run a little bit. Sometimes that happens with beautiful dark yarns. We will see. Now, each skein is a 50-gram ball, and it has 231 yards. So I got a sweater's quantity of this, and $2 a skein. Now, the next one I'm going to show you is something that I had in my cart before I even knew what I was doing. It is called Bouquet Heather, another palette yarn, and I hope you can see. Look at how pretty that is. I'm just going to make a simple cardigan out of this, or a sweater, because I really want to showcase this beautiful yarn. Sometimes I think, ooh, lace work. Sometimes I think, ooh, cable work. I got enough yarn to do cables for a sweater's quantity. And the last yarn I got, I will mention that when I looked on the website recently to see if they still had these colors in stock, they did not. That doesn't mean they won't again, but they may not. So this color is called Pea Pod. I have used this in other projects, and I just thought, I really just love this. So I got a sweater's quantity of this as well at $2 a skein. Just wonderful. Oops. Now, I ordered it last Monday and it arrived yesterday. Fast turnaround for a massive sale. In fact, my account as of yesterday after school said still pending. And I was like, oh man, when is it gonna come? This is birthday yarn. I'm calling this my birthday present yarn. And this is how beautiful that is. This is so gorgeous. I just love it. And then I ran an errand and I got home and I saw the mailman. And I thought, you know, I'm just gonna meet him. He knows that I will, if I see him, I just walk down my driveway and I meet him and I was like, hey, and he was like going like this into his truck, and I'm like, what is he getting? I wasn't even expecting a package. And then he hands me a box and it has my name on it. And I'm like, what? And it was my yarn. And so then I unpacked it all and looked at everything and, blah, blah. And I thought, I looked back on the website, like, did they update it? Or maybe they haven't updated it. And it said still pending. So I thought, they do have pretty good customer service. I called, I was not on hold for more than maybe 30 seconds. And a nice lady answered and I said what I just told you, and that I had received it. And that she said, oh, well, let me look at your account. And on her side, it said it had shipped, but it didn't have any tracking information. It didn't have anything. So she was happy that I called. and let her know that. So just FYI, they do have good customer service. I am not an affiliate with them. I was at the beginning of my podcast, but the affiliate program switched companies and the new company was really hard to navigate. And I was just like, I'm going to cut my losses and just say TTYL. Anyway, on that fun note, I hope everyone is doing well. I hope to have some finished objects for you next week. And I hope that everyone is staying cool if you're in a warm area, or warm if you're in a cold area. And one last thing, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for liking, and thank you for commenting on my videos. I truly appreciate it. And it is just fun to sit here and chat about my knitting week after week. It keeps me going, it keeps me happy, and I hope it does the same for you. Take care, have fun, bye for now.